Guys, in this video, I'm going to show you the different types of Power Apps, its components, and what they have to offer. This will make you understand what's out there and will help you make the right decision as to which Power App to use for your requirement. I'll also give you a quick demo of some real-world applications and the tools required to build them. So stay tuned. A little about me, my name is Mohammed, and I'm the Microsoft Practice Lead at AQL Technologies. If you need help digitalizing your business processes or redeveloping InfoPath, Nintex, K2, or any other solutions to Power Apps, feel free to reach out to me. And I would love to guide you in the right direction or be your implementation partner. Finally, if you like this video, please don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to my channel. Power Apps have four major components: Canvas apps, model-driven apps, Power App Portal, and Dataverse. So let's get started with Canvas Power Apps. Basically, you use Canvas apps to create responsive, mobile-first applications. You can connect to different data sources, and you have a choice of 200 data sources. You have complete control over the layout, and you can create a complete custom app. It's the most flexible for development of functions and controls.
So here's an example of a Canvas expense approval app. I have full control over every single element in this layout, which the developer in me just loves it. On the left, I have the hamburger menu. You can actually see I have, so many different options over here. And so there are a lot more options which are security trimmed. Yes, they are security trimmed, so I can actually do that as well. And on the right, I have several buttons like refresh, which basically refreshes the data, add new record, and another button to load all the expense reports over here. So if there are more, then I can actually just click on this and it's just going to load up every single thing that I have in here. So if I click on the arrow button, it loads up a new screen which shows the details of the expense in itself. So let's go ahead and just take a look at it. And over here I have several tabs for expense details, spending. So this is after the expense has been approved, there's spending going on, and then there's attachments as well. And if I scroll down over here, there are several different sections over here which basically opens up only to the right security roles, which is it's all security trimmed. There's a list of down at the bottom, there's project reassign history, there's approval history, there's approvers, estimated cost. So there's a lot to this, and then it's all security trimmed. So you can develop some really complex functionality applications using the Canvas app.
There's also list custom Power Apps which are dedicated to customizing SharePoint list forms. This is a true replacement to InfoPath forms. Let's take an example.
So here's a very basic example of a list customized form. When I click on the column value over here, it just opens up, and then I can actually see. So just like, remember back in the days, InfoPath form, for those who knows InfoPath form. So this is a list customized form. This actually sticks right to the SharePoint list in itself. I have my approve and reject for this expense over here, and over here I click on a second tab. So I have two tabs up in the top. Second tab, it basically shows me certain graph over here about, or certain chart over here about the several different expenses that I can have. And then down at the bottom, it's got several different details. I can actually lay out several different details. There could be several different lines to this expense up in the top. I can actually customize this using, so Power Apps, only people with permissions can actually customize this. I click on customize forms, and it basically opens up the Power App Studio, which I'll show later in this video how it looks like when you open it up. So finally, a few more points while looking at this form over here is if you customize the form of a SharePoint list, the form will not appear as an app in Power Apps Studio or Power Apps Mobile. You will realize that this just basically is very local to the SharePoint list in itself. You will not see that in the Power Apps Studio, where you can see a list of all the standalone apps. Also, you can open the form only from the list from which you created it, just like how I did it. If you delete the list, the Power App form is also lost, which is a very terrible thing. So be very careful if this is the form that you are planning to, if this is the type of form that you're planning to develop.
Using Power Apps Portal, you can create external-facing websites that allow users outside your organization to sign with a wide variety of identities or even browse the portal anonymously. What you get with Power Apps Portal is a complete content management system out of the box.
So this is what I have created for AQL. When you crank it up, it creates a default portal that you can tweak it, and it is pretty easy to tweak it, but really depends on how much you want to do that, how much you want to customize it. So over here, what I did is I have 3 different options over here: report ID issues, report facility issues, and request HR info. And I've customized this page once again. So, and every single box basically, has got, every one of these 3 options has got a form behind them which users can actually submit their issues. So I click on report IT issues. This basically opens up my my model-driven Power App form, and I can fill in information over here, or actually users can fill in information over here, which basically gets submitted over to the database behind the scenes, which is Dataverse. And this is, all of these are basically model-driven apps. And once again, this whole portal is public and it can be accessed anonymously.
Let's take a look at model-driven apps. Model-driven app design doesn't require code. You don't have any control on the layout like you did with Canvas apps, and is driven by the components you add to the apps. These are Dynamics 365 apps, and you have been working with model-driven apps if you are working with Dynamics 365. If you're working with Dynamics 365, this is the app that you will end up creating most of the times as well.
So let me go ahead and show you this model-driven app. This basically holds a list of all my accounts, and it's generated off the accounts entity, which is also known as accounts table. And you can actually see that this whole layout is basically auto-generated by itself. I click on new, it basically opens up a new form over here. I can actually go ahead and enter, my new account, or an account which basically I have, but this is, so save and close, but this is a new account being entered in the system. And you can actually see that, so this whole UI is basically a model-driven app.
You can use Power Apps with several different data sources, like Dataverse, also known as CDS, SharePoint, Dynamics 365, SQL Server, and even on-prem data sources. In combination with Power Automate, you can digitalize and automate even complex manual business processes. Remember InfoPath? InfoPath is a predecessor to Power Apps, except that Power Apps is InfoPath on some serious steroids. Also, it meets and beats expectations of other extremely expensive third-party tools like Nintex and K2. Let's take a look at the different tools used for creating Power App solutions. You can create Canvas apps using Power App Studio, model-driven apps using the App Designer, Portal using Power Apps Portal Studio. Also for Power Apps for Teams, you can create them right from Microsoft Teams itself.
When I chose to create a Canvas Power App, then it basically opens up the Power App Studio over here. And you can actually see that this is all the Canvas view, and I can create Power Apps Canvas applications right from the web using the Power Studio. Then this is the App Designer. This is basically the design view of how I can create a model-driven app, just like how I showed you. It's got site navigation, dashboards, and then there are these 4 different components to it: forms, views, charts, and dashboards. I can customize all of that. So this is a very high level and brief overview of the model-driven app. I'm in Microsoft Teams right now, and you can actually see that I've added Power Apps over here by actually selecting, clicking on the ellipse and then adding Power Apps. And once I go in Power Apps, it gives me the ability to create Power Apps, the Canvas Power Apps from Microsoft Teams in itself. And the underlying database can be the Microsoft Dataverse.
At AQL, we've been helping clients develop Power Apps applications since 2016, pretty much since the public release. It takes some understanding to choose and implement the right types of Power Apps, and also make sure what you are doing is in line with Microsoft vision. Over the years, we have developed hundreds of Power App applications like approval for expense, everybody needs that, asset management, leave management, AI-driven applications, purchasing, inventory management, logistics, financial applications, and a lot more, which are connecting to several different data sources. This is a great tool for rapid application development, and I recommend you board the ship soon if you have not already. The licensing is a different story, and I'll be covering that in a different video. Thank you.